Hello and welcome again to Along the Rock, our visual podcast, as you'll notice, and designed to, pay attention, pay homage to the people of the Sauk Valley, the valley and the river that runs through it. I'm Mark Morris, I'll be your host, and my guest today is Dr. Dave Hellmich from Sauk Valley Community College.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, Mark.
Yeah, you
Looking
bet.
forward to it.
Welcome, Doc, to our studio, which is always improving every time we...
Very impressive studio.
Appreciate it. You recently went to Washington. Now, anytime a local educator, community college president, makes a trip to D.C., we expect a lot of news coming back. So tell us about that summit.
Well, let me take a step back.
Okay.
In the April of 2021, in the middle of COVID, I get an email from the White House. And I've never gotten an email from the White House.
Me neither.
And the email was saying that Dr. Jill Biden was hoping to visit Sauk. And of course, I thought it was fake initially. So I sent it to our IT people, make sure it didn't have a virus. It's real. And lo and behold, Dr. Biden wanted to come to Sauk because she was looking to talk about what is typically called promise programs, where students get a chance, and typically it's talked about free tuition. And we had developed a promise program that we have branded as the impact program, where students can earn their tuition, which we can talk more about later. So Dr. Biden comes to visit, Secret Service and the whole shebang.
Oh, yeah.
It was a big day. Sure. And the Secretary of Education and the governor all descended upon Sauk Valley Community College. Well, went great. Time passes, and the first Monday of November, the day before the national election, that evening had been a busy day, hadn't checked email, and I checked email about 7 o'clock, and there's an email from 5:04 p.m. from the White House, an invitation for me to go to a summit at the White House. So what do? I forward it to our IT people, make sure it's not a virus,
Okay.
And I get an email back saying, yeah, it's legitimate. So I talked about it with my cabinet on Tuesday, and then Wednesday morning, after the election, and it was clear where the election was going, I actually called the White House and said, are y'all doing this still? And they said, oh yeah, we're doing it. I said, oh great, I'll go. And then the Monday, I flew out on Tuesday, second Tuesday of the month, a week after the election. The morning before, I get another email from them saying, oh, you can bring a +1 if you want. My wife, Dr. Linda Hellmich, very excited about that. So Tuesday, we fly to D.C., and that night we tootled around, we looked at memorials, and then Wednesday morning, we had the summit. And we arrived at the White House at 8:45 in the morning, 4 levels of security, which was fascinating going through security. And right when we arrive in line, we meet Dr. Martha Cantor, who is a national expert on promise programs and had helped us develop ours. She actually received an honorary degree from Sauk a few years ago, so she knows us well. We're good friends with Martha. She was there, so I was able to connect with her all day. And then after about 15 minutes, Linda and I are in the White House, and we're in the White House. You know, the red room, the blue room, and all this kind of stuff. And at 10 o'clock, at 9:45, the doors to the stateroom opened up. And I'm not a front row person. I like to sit, in the back.
Sure.
For this, I'm a front row person. I made sure that we were first in line so that we could be, 5 feet from Dr. Biden, Jill Biden. She spoke first, and then the president. So we were right there, and right over here, about 3 feet over, is Pete Buttigieg and other cabinet members. And it was really exciting to be there. The purpose of the summit was for the Biden administration essentially to wrap a bow around their workforce development efforts, generally and specifically with community colleges. So it really was a celebration of community colleges and how vital we are in workforce development. Then they departed. They were there from a little bit after 10 to almost 11. And then the 4 cabinet members, including Pete Buttigieg, went up on stage. And they talked about what their departments had done during the administration. And what is interesting historically, during that time, 2 rooms over is when Presidents Trump and Biden met. the ceremonial
Oh,
meeting.
yeah, sure.
So that was going on right over there. So that was exciting. And then afterwards we left. We went to Department of Education all afternoon for meetings, including meetings on promise programs where Martha Cantor spoke, and she bragged and bragged about what we're doing at Sauk. And so I had a chance to tell a very large room full of cabinet secretaries, college presidents, Chronicle of Higher Education folks, all about the Promise program, the impact program we have here. So it was historical. It was fun. I didn't think I'd ever go to the White House, and came and went.
Did the Washington people ask you to change the name of your program just to match with the national approach?
Well, when Dr. Biden was here in April 2021, I gave her a tour. We had a chance to talk. Wonderful person. And she's a community college professor. I don't know if you know that. She is a community college English professor, and my background was in English. And I did say to her, in the Sauk Valley, promise programs do not fly. Free college does not fly. Earned college is where it's all about. So during that afternoon, when I was talking to folks at the Department of Education, afterwards, several people came up to me and said, we want to know more about that volunteerism, because that sounds really exciting. And so the impact program, Dr. Lori Cortez, in 2016, working with her foundation, working with people like Martha Cantor, developed the concept. And for 2 years, under Lori's leadership, we worked with educators throughout the Sauk Valley, leaders throughout the Sauk Valley, on fine-tuning this program. And initially, we were getting a rather cool reception, because people didn't like the idea of students being given something free. Right. When we landed on the earned tuition, that made all the difference. Our goal is to raise $10 million. We've raised $7 million. We have students in Prophetstown and Fulton who are seniors this year, impact students who will come to us next year having earned their tuition. And we started with Fulton and Prophetstown because we had an anonymous $1 million donation, 4 years ago.
Okay.
So to kickstart it. And then throughout the Sauk Valley, the other impact students are juniors or sophomores or freshmen. We have 1,455 students throughout the Sauk Valley who are impact students. And those students have volunteered nearly 60,000 hours of community service. We have 245 nonprofits who are registered with us. We have this great calendar where if you need to do some volunteer hours, you need to do 25 hours a year, freshman year, 25 sophomore year, 25 junior, 25 senior. You can go to this calendar, and all these opportunities exist for you to sign up, and you help the chamber, or you help Main Street, or you help a church, whatever it may be. And so the volunteerism, the idea is that you earn their tuition, and the idea is that in so doing, you get to know your community, and you're giving back to your community. And you learn what a great place Rock Falls is, and Sterling is, and Dixon, and Amboy, and Prophetstown, Morrison, all these towns. You learn about your local community and the importance of it. And there's all kind of national data on programs like this that if you're involved in the community, it's more likely you're going to stay. Or maybe you come to Sauk and you get a 2-year degree and then you transfer to NIU or Aurora or wherever, but it's more likely you're going to come back because you know what a wonderful place where you live.
And again, not possible without that upfront donation, or
Correct.
I should say donations.
Well, that kickstarted it,
Yeah.
and we've been very successful. And an approach we have now is we're going community by community to have communities endowed. And for example, so Fulton and Prophetstown were endowed right away through this donation. And then a former educator from Milledgeville, Hal Weaver, passed away. He left money in his estate for the impact program for Milledgeville students. So forevermore, if you are an impact student in Milledgeville and you earn your tuition at Sauk, you will graduate from Milledgeville High School as a Hal Weaver Scholar. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
And
for Hal and Absentia, if you will, and his
Polo,
family.
The Polo community is nearly fully endowed. We're working with Ashton and Franklin Grove. We just started a campaign in Morrison. And so we are very, very confident that this impact program will exist forevermore. So again, it's an endowed program. So this is not something that just happens for 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Forevermore, in the Sauk Valley, students can earn their tuition. And all kind of data that show that the students who typically go in this first are students who are going to go to college anyway.
Yeah.
They're maybe middle-class kids. And yes, it's wonderful. Saves money. They graduate from Sauk with little to no debt. And all that's wonderful. And where it's going to make the most impact down the road is more and more of the kids whose parents didn't go to college. And maybe they don't have a supportive home life. Maybe they don't have a very, a very good home life at all. And never thought they could go to college. From this program, they learned that they can. And we had an example. We had some of our employees at a chamber event advertising the impact program. And an 8th grade girl came over and dragged her mom and said, "Mom, this is the program I want to be in. Mom, I can go to college to this program." And Mom said, "Oh no, you can't go to college. We can never afford to go to college." So our impact people talked with the mother and explained, and the mother thought, "Oh, you can." And the little girl said, "I'm going to go to college, and someday I'm going to help my family have a house so we all don't have to sleep in the same bedroom." This is a family, they all sleep in one room. And so this family didn't know about Sauk, didn't know about colleges and universities, never thought that their kids could go. Now they think they can. And it's those kids who we affect that will transform the Sauk Valley even more so than all the other kids who normally would be going to Sauk or wherever.
Yeah, that's a great story. The cost of four-year universities and private colleges that are not community colleges, but private colleges, tuition has gone up tremendously in the last, 15, 20 years, to the point where there are going to be, and I'm sure are, people who say, "No, you're not going to college. No way. It'll cost more than your dad and I make together."
Oh, and the debt can be crippling. But with the impact program, if your goal in life is to be a CNA, you don't think you're going to be able to be a nurse, you want to be a CNA, you can use the impact tuition earned to be a CNA. You can use it to take some welding classes and get a great welding job. It is for students who want to get an AA degree and then transfer, and then end up getting a 4-year degree and becoming an educator, a lawyer, a doctor, whatever it may be. Because about half our students at Sauk want to get a degree at Sauk and then transfer. But the other half may want to get a degree, or maybe they just want to take some classes so that they can get a better job. They can get that first job. And the impact program, earned tuition, works for all those options.
And that's another thing, I guess you could say, has changed over the last couple of decades, is that not everything requires a 4-year degree, and that was really fed to us on a pretty regular basis in the past. Get the 4-year degree, you can, you'll make X amount of millions of dollars more over your career than you would by not having it. Now a 2-year degree, or even at just 2 years doing something that you really want to do, maybe followed by an apprenticeship or an internship of some kind, that can be just as good.
It can be great. And that success you have in the classroom. And again, it may be that it may be a learning disability. It may be that you're just not confident in the classroom. But there are other types of classrooms, again, like welding or machine tool, where it's hands-on. You get that success. It makes you feel good about yourself. You get that good job, you feel good about yourself, and then you become a better person. You're a happier person, and more likely then to have a good functional family, to be a good member of the community. And I think college education ultimately is about two things. And it may surprise you. One is critical thinking skills. You learn to think. And you get a job as a doctor, a lawyer, a welder, it doesn't matter. You have to think on your feet. And a college education will help you think on your feet, number one. And number two, it makes you a better citizen. Because ultimately, we all need to be contributing to the welfare of our neighborhoods, our places of worship, our towns, just our communities in general. And by being a good, productive worker, leader, you can do that.
And with this program specifically, I don't want to use the word forces you, but it does. It forces you to interact with a part of the community you might not have ever interacted with before or after.
Sure. And then think about these 245 nonprofits that need volunteers. Some of them had to hire folks. They don't have to hire folks now. They have the volunteers, so they're saving money. They are teaching young kids about the mission of their nonprofit. You know, again, be whatever it is. It may be a church, it may be a chamber, any kind. It may be a team, an athletic team, and the students are learning about the missions of those nonprofits.
Yeah. What do community colleges need now, whether it be financial or otherwise, that maybe they're not getting from certain segments of society, whether it involve money, whether it involve teachers? I mean, not everybody that's good at something is a good teacher. That sort of thing. I know you have a lot of adjunct faculty.
Yeah, actually, we don't have so many at Sauk. Yeah. So to give a little bit of my background,
Okay.
I've worked in community colleges in Florida, in Minnesota, in Kentucky, and now here. And public community colleges and public universities generally are not rolling in the money. And we really shouldn't. But the point I'm going to get to is this is the only place I've worked where we have a local tax base. If you own property in the Sauk Valley and you look on your property tax, way down at the bottom, there's going to be a little line for Sauk Valley Community College.
Oh, sure.
It's not very much.
It's not that common, huh?
It is not that common. It depends on the state. And the 3 states where I had been before, the community college system was not built on that economic scheme. But in Illinois, it is. And about half of our revenue comes from local tax support. That gives me a stable financial base. When community colleges were formed in Illinois, a third of the revenue is supposed to come from local taxes, a third from the state, and a third from tuition. The state has never done what they're supposed to do with this, so
Surprise.
about half of our revenue comes from the taxes, and then about another third is from tuition. And our tuition, we try to keep it very moderate. And then some, about 18% comes from the state. Far less than a third we're supposed to get. So we're not a wealthy institution, but financially we're doing okay. And so when you ask, what we need, I'm not going to say that we. I mean, it would be great. It would be great.
Give me some money,
It
sure.
would be great to have folks understand the value of the impact program and say, hey, I want to support that. And I will donate money to your foundation so the impact program can be endowed. And you donate to the foundation, you can write it off on your taxes. So yes, that would be great. And we have several people who are planning their estates and have the impact program in their estate planning. Now, we want them to live a long, long life. We don't want to see their money for a long time, but when people eventually pass away, then that money would come into the impact program.
Sure.
So that would be great. And we're continuing to try to raise at least $3 more million for impact program. But beyond that, I think what I would ask from folks is just know who we are and reach out to us to help. Because we partner with folks in any way possible. For example, we house the Small Business Development Center, the SBDC.
Right. Sure.
And so if you want to start a new business, you want to expand your business, you want to transition out of your business, you give our SBDC a call and it'll be free. You'll get expert help. Maybe you didn't finish high school and you want to get your GED. Or maybe you're new to the community and your language skills are not good. Maybe English is not your first language. Come to our adult education program. And you can learn English, you can learn citizenship skills to take a citizenship test, you can work toward your GED. And we have all kinds of students every year who graduate from our adult education program and then come straight into Sauk to become nurses and welders, get transfer degrees, whatever it may be.
They feel they belong.
Because they do belong.
Because they're already there.
They're already there and they do belong, yes.
All right. It sounds like the future is bright. Now tell me how someone watching this program and getting a little excited because they haven't heard this information before, which is, of course, good information. Who do they contact and how do they contact them?
I would say simply call the college and say, I need to talk about somebody about the impact program. You're welcome to call me. My phone number is 815-994-1143. That's my cell number I have right here.
Okay.
Carry it with me all the time. You can call me. You can text me. Or just go online and contact anybody at the college because we all know about the impact program and we all support the impact program.
All right. Dr. Hellmich, I appreciate,
Yeah.
as I say, good information.
Thank you. Yeah.
So-
Yeah, and the idea you're doing this podcast is great. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you.
And thank you for watching. I'm Mark Morris, and my guest, of course, today has been Dr. Dave Hellmich from Sauk Valley Community College, just back from Washington a couple of weeks ago to a summit. And I sometimes forget that Dr. Biden also is a community college instructor, professor, what have you. Thank Dr. Hellmich for coming up to see our studios, and thank the entire crew here for making this program possible. Again, I'm Mark Morris, and hope you can join us next time along the Rock.